and welcome back to another episode of Massholes with Mikes. This is our Week 9 Picks Preview show, but it's not going to be just picks. Normally, that's what we do. We started a new format last week with myself and Jordan, and we actually liked it. We're going to keep going with it, and we're going to see how it plays, mostly because, let's face it, not everyone's going to want to sit through all of the picks. We just want to highlight some games, maybe talk about them a little bit more in depth, but we do have to start with some news and notes around the league. And the big story that broke today, at the time of this recording, Aaron Rodgers heading on to the COVID-19 list, testing positive for COVID, and will miss Sunday's slob fest of a game in terms of media just lovability between Mahomes and Rodgers, Packers and Chiefs in Arrowhead. Aaron Rodgers will be missing that game, and soon thereafter, I believe it was Ian Rappaport that said it first. He said that Aaron Rodgers is unvaccinated. That is why he's automatically ruled out. So obviously Davante Adams tested positive, I think, late Sunday night last week before the game against the Cardinals. He still had a chance to play because he's vaccinated. Rodgers does not because he is unvaccinated, and he tried to hide it. So, first of all, we're going to do, instant reaction to Aaron Rodgers being out at least until the day before the Seahawks game. So he's out until the following Saturday. So out, I don't even know. Math is hard. I believe that is 10 days? At least 10 days.
10 days.
Yeah, it's a 10-day
and he's got to produce,
quarantine,
I think, 3 negative test results in a row or something like that. So I'm going to lead with Kyle here. Your first reaction when you saw this news this morning?
I was disappointed because, and this is purely just for me, because I have Davante Adams in fantasy, and, he missed him last week. And then I was like, oh, well, at least they're facing the Chiefs, Aaron Rodgers and Adams will light him up. No, it's probably not going to happen. It's Jordan Love. And, Jordan Love, I think he's only played 7 snaps in his career. He's not bad. It's going to be interesting to see what we're going to get from him. But, it's a bit of a letdown. And then finding out that he was, lying about being vaccinated was also very disappointing because it's like, come on, man. That's not a thing you lie about. It's an important thing. You just take it, If, I don't know anyone that's really lied about being unvaccinated. Pretty much, if you are,
except for Evander Kane.
I was gonna say Evander Kane.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying just most of the people that are just
card.
I know, but most people that do it just kind of wear it, it's normally a thing that they're very vocal about. Which I guess in his case I would understand if he didn't want to be vocal about it. But yeah, no, very disappointed. I texted my friend who was a Packers fan pretty much immediately, and she was like, I said, Aaron, no. And she said, what, the Bitcoin thing? I'm like, we're going to come back to that. But, no, he,
pin in that.
What
I'm like, no, he
thing?
tested positive, and we were joking. She's like, he's in his Brett Favre era right now.
So, for those of you who are unfamiliar with what happened, they dug up an old interview clip from, I believe, August. It was during training camp. A reporter asked him, because this was the era in which a lot of people were questioning the NFL players, because there were certain guys who said that they weren't going to be vaccinated. Carson Wentz, Lamar Jackson, Kirk Cousins. There were some big names around the league, specifically quarterbacks, that all said that they were not going to go. Yeah,
Nuke Hopkins.
How did I forget about that? Cam Newton. But a lot of quarterbacks, especially, that said that they were not going to get the jab. And they asked Aaron Rodgers, they said, have you been vaccinated? He goes, yeah, I've been immunized. Now, by the letter of the law, he is not lying, quote unquote, but he is manipulating it into a sense that you think that he has gotten vaccinated. What he did do, I don't even know how to describe it. I guess he went to his doctor and tried to increase his antibody count in his body. If someone knows better than I do, please take over for me right now.
That's what it sounds like.
So a vaccine?
Yeah.
It just sounded like, to me, when I heard that, it sounded like he went to his doctor and did natural remedies. I know that's not what it is, but I'm just picturing him with the sage and all of this stuff.
Well, he is engaged
I
in
like
saline
that.
water.
I like the idea of that.
With his doctor being like, antibodies.
Kyrie Irving's burning sage in the same room as him, and that's how they boosted their antibody count.
They're like, we don't want the vaccine. Boost
If that's
the
what he did, that's probably how he got it.
Yeah, seriously. But no, that was wild. I don't even know how that's why would also I don't know. It's just an awful situation if you're a Packers fan, especially on Chiefs week. The Chiefs are looking for a prove-it game against a good team, and the Packers are a good team. They're the number 1 team in the NFC, and especially, playing a team that's not in your division, one of the obviously we've been kind of crapping on the Chiefs recently, deservingly so, but like this would be kind of like a layup win for the Packers, and now you're gonna give the Chiefs the momentum. Are you kidding me, Aaron Rodgers? Are you kidding me? They don't need momentum.
I just found the article where it said, so apparently he attempted to dodge the NFL's vaccination protocol by engaging in, quote, homeopathic treatment from his personal doctor to raise his antibodies. What is
that?
I like the idea.
It didn't
that
work.
Put, and he petitioned the NFL to allow that to be his vaccination per se, and the NFL denied it. But
Of course.
I think they've shown. I mean, we've seen it. Have you seen Carson Wentz when he walks around on the sideline in Indianapolis? He's always got a mask on. When he does press conferences indoors, he has a mask on. Rodgers did a press conference, I think, a couple days ago without a mask on indoors. So he is, I guess, flagrantly just disobeying the protocols that they put in place. Jaclyn?
For the viewers at home, homeopathy is a medical system based on the belief that the body can cure itself. Those who practice it use tiny amounts of natural substances like plants and minerals. They believe these stimulate the healing process.
So
It's a
David
crock
Price avoided
of
Tom
BS.
John.
Honestly, like my interpretation of what he did probably wasn't all that off.
Yeah, it maybe did on.
And in the end, I think it partially has a lot to do with his fiance, I believe, is Shailene Woodley, who's like a big proponent of like natural remedies and all that stuff. So I would not be surprised if that played a role in it.
So, Jordan, you're the only one who I've yet to go to in terms of a reaction. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword here because the NFL had a great opportunity to use Aaron Rodgers as an example for breaking protocol, and they basically, like, it said that they denied his, request to count that as a vaccination, but the thing is they still
Good for
allowed
them.
him to behave in a manner that
Bad
he
for
was
them.
a vaccinated player, which is exactly why I think the NFL deserves some flack as well for this. But Aaron Rodgers, like, come on, dude. Like, really? I don't know. Like, it's one thing, like Kyle said before, the athletes that have been outspoken about not getting vaccinated have just taken it. They've been, like, I mentioned Kyrie Irving earlier. You guys mentioned Wentz, Kirk Cousins, etc. Even Cole Beasley. They're still wearing masks on the sideline. They've been very outspoken about not getting vaccinated, but they're at least following the protocols in place for people who aren't vaccinated because they don't want to be that selfish, you-know-what, that ends up costing their team a game. And Aaron Rodgers clearly, he still likes to operate at his own, likes to march to the beat of his own drum. And I also blame the NFL for allowing that to happen without punishing him for violating protocols for not being vaccinated.
I mean, you couldn't have put it better, Jordan, when you said he likes to march to the beat of his own drum, because good Lord, he is the biggest jackwagon in the league. What an absolute tool this guy is.
Yep.
And I know that I'm obviously very biased. I got a Harrison Smith jersey hanging behind me right now. You guys can't see it. It's a little bit higher than eye level in my camera. But, I mean, I'm a Vikings fan. I get it. I'm predisposed to hate the Packers. But I like to see that a lot of people are coming to my side on this when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. I hated him for other reasons. Now there's just more of an excuse for me to not like him. This guy is an absolute tool. I bet Green Bay's really regretting not trading him in the offseason. But equally, I guess, just not. It was a bad PR day for the Packers, make no mistake about it. Because Matt LaFleur had his daily press conference today after the Aaron Rodgers news broke. And he was asked, okay, so how ready is Jordan Love ready to go and step into this environment? And he goes, I don't know. We'll see. Like, dude, come on.
Is he wrong?
He's not wrong, but you're not supposed to say that. You have to give your quarterback a vote of
you're
confidence.
not wrong.
I have
but you
never
need to say it.
I have never wished more for Jordan Love to succeed. I want the Packers to go into Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs because this could finally spell the end for Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Then he can go to some two-bit franchise where I won't have to see him in primetime every other game. He can go to Cincinnati's off the table because Joe Burrow's actually playing well. He can go to Vegas or he can go to Denver, one of these franchises that I don't care about and I don't need to care about for a while here. Because I am so sick of the Aaron Rodgers experience because no matter what, you brought him back for this year. You're 7-1 atop the NFC, and you still can't get out of your own way. Like, come on, dude. Stop being a douche. Like, it's not hard. I can't imagine being a Packers fan right now. They must have absolutely had it with him.
Can't imagine
Like-
being his teammate right now.
I can say, as a friend of a Packers fan, she was pretty livid. She said she's on her final strings here, like she's at her wits' end.
Good, they should be. And speaking of people
especially after he strung him around all this offseason, will he, won't he, all this. It's like, come on, dude. Like, you got to at least act professional.
the best... Sorry, Jaclyn, go.
I was going to say, did you guys see what Aaron Jones said about it earlier today?
HIPAA.
No,
When asked about knowing if he knew Aaron Rodgers, like if he wasn't vaccinated before, he said, "That's for me to say. I believe that's HIPAA. Learn the definition of HIPAA.
The best tweet to come out of all of this was something I sent earlier in the chat. Or maybe in the chat. I don't remember. I sent it to a lot of people, I think. But somebody tweeted out, Aaron Rodgers found out that the vaccine can protect his family, and he immediately opted against it.
I saw that.
Great tweet. Great tweet.
Oh, no.
But speaking of a fan base who's absolutely done with their player, I tried to get this segue off twice. Now the third one is successful. Odell Beckham Jr. wants out of Cleveland, and I think Cleveland wants out of Odell Beckham Jr. It would not surprise me whatsoever if he gets cut within the next 24 hours. The question is, who is going to sign him? Now, obviously, if you haven't been keeping up with this story, because the Aaron Rodgers saga was real big, Odell Beckham Jr.'s dad posted a video of all of the missed throws that Baker Mayfield had, whether it be bad throws or not hitting Odell Beckham Jr. on that specific route. Jordan, I don't need you applauding because at this point, I am more on the side of Baker Mayfield on this one.
I'm not.
Because I think Odell Beckham Jr. is a tool. Anyway, he has essentially run himself out of Cleveland. He ran himself out of the Giants as well before he got traded there. So, this begs the question, A, I guess whose side are you on in this drama? And B, should the Patriots go sign him? Because, I mean, we've gone 13 and a half minutes and haven't mentioned the Patriots really yet. So let's put a Patriots angle on this. Should the Patriots go and get Odell Beckham Jr.? Kyle, I saw you doing the binoculars. Go right ahead.
I mean, that's been something that's, I think, has been in the cards for a long time. I think when Brady was really kind of begging to get a receiver, everyone was kind of like, man, Odell really wants to. I mean, there was that photo of him literally giving Brady, like the goat cleats that he wore, like the goat skin cleats after their game against the Browns, where Baker's standing in the background kind of like, come on, man. Like, I'm your quarterback. You can't do that. But I honestly don't know if I would really want him. I mean, sure, maybe him. I don't think that he's like completely washed. I think just like the Baker connection just was never there. And it clearly it's a thing between the two of them. Because Baker's had no problem with all the other receivers on the team. There's just like a disconnect between the two of them, and they've never been able to actually get it together.
Did you see
I just
what
don't
he
know
said, Baker Mayfield, when asked about this today? He said...
vaguely.
Yeah, so he goes... Someone asked him, would an apology from Odell Beckham Jr. go a long way towards smoothing this over? And he said something to the effect of, anything that he would say to me right now would actually proceed to have like a productive conversation in terms of smoothing things over and trying to move forward, which essentially means he hasn't talked to him. Come to find out, I think it was Jordan Schultz who had it, Odell Beckham Jr. has completely cut off Kevin Stefanski as well, the head coach. Kevin Stefanski has told players, saying, proceed as if he's not on the team right now. So you'd have to think that he is going to get released soon. Jaclyn, as our other Browns fan on here, I'm going to let you go second. I'm going to go third, and now I'm going to let Jordan back clean up because I know he's going to have a good opinion on that. So Jaclyn, you go first here.
I just think that this should have happened a very long time ago. Clearly, there was a disconnect when OBJ got hurt. Was that last season or was that even 2 seasons ago?
It was last
year.
year.
The beginning of last season.
It's like 5 games in, yeah.
Yes. Baker plays much better without him for whatever reason. And it's like they should have traded him before the start of this season, or at least like before the trade deadline. They should have worked something out. They could have gotten a good package in return for him, and they kind of screwed themselves over in that sense. I do not want him on the Patriots. I think he's going to go ring chasing. If he gets cut, he'll probably sign somewhere like Tampa, maybe Green Bay. Maybe he'll sign somewhere else in the AFC so that he could possibly face the Browns again in a playoff situation if it comes to that. I just don't believe that the Patriots should sign him. I don't think that he would be a good fit in a Bill Belichick locker room because I don't think that Bill would deal with his crap. He's a player. He's like an Antonio Brown. I don't think he's nearly as bad as Antonio Brown. And clearly the Patriots couldn't handle him for more than a week and a half. So
they tried to.
They tried.
He did everything he could to get kicked out of New England.
That's fair. That is fair. So With a rookie quarterback, I don't think that he'll want to go to a rookie quarterback. I think he'll want to go someplace with a veteran, like
The Ravens.
Green Bay, like maybe even. So we'll see where he ends up. He's definitely going to get cut, though.
All right, my thoughts on this. Has there ever been a player that's profited more off of one play than Odell Beckham Jr.? I think we can
Malcolm
all
Butler.
agree.
Nah, not as much.
Odell's
Malcolm's out of the
definitely
league.
cashed in more. And
He
Malcolm
retired,
Butler at
though.
least turned in a Pro Bowl season the year after that as well. Remember in
Didn't
2015?
Odell do like 3 or 4 of them after?
I don't think so. You
I
may
can
want to check.
check.
Yeah, you can check
I'll
on
look.
that while I rant for a second here. Odell Beckham Jr. is incredibly overrated. Anyone who had him in the top 5 wide receiver conversation, stupid. Especially now, if you want to include him in the top 20, you're also stupid because he's not. He's just not that good anymore. There's 2 better wide receivers on his own team, in my opinion. Jarvis Landry, and you can take either Higgins or Peoples-Jones, and I could make I would agree with you. I don't care who you take. I think they're better than Odell. Yeah, did the connection with Baker not really exist? Okay, fine. But I think part of the disconnect is Odell himself. He wants to be force-fed the ball, and to succeed in that Browns offense when you run the ball most of the time, it's not going to work. You can't go and say, Odell Beckham has to get 13 targets in a game. That's not how you win games. And I know I sent the thing earlier about the highest paid wide receivers in raw dollars and them not winning titles, but Odell Beckham Jr. is now the 14th highest paid wide receiver of all time, and he has missed a butt ton of games in the past 3 years. If he wants to leave, just kick him out if you're Cleveland and absorb the cap hit, chalk it up to a loss and move on. Do I want him on the Patriots? No way in hell. I wanted a cornerback before a wide receiver at the trade deadline anyway. They didn't get either one of them. And I don't want a receiver unless it's going to be a speedy slot guy. Because I think Jacoby Myers out of the slot is not bad, but he is not quick enough. I want an Edelman. I want a guy that can really get out of his break really fast. I don't know who that is. I couldn't give you a name, but maybe Gunner? Maybe? But if you're going to go look and bring in another guy, I want it to be a speedy slot receiver, not one of these outside guys. Because if you get in an outside guy, then you got to move Aguilar over to the other side of the field. Then you got to kick Kendrick Bourne inside. Then you got to move Jacoby Myers. And it snowballs. You don't need the outside guy right now. Go and get another slot guy, in my opinion. Jordan, clean up here.
For starters, I think with Odell, I think a good comparison, because this is kind of going into whether or not I think the Patriots should sign him. I think he's more of a Martellus Bennett type in the sense that he's kind of thrown himself out of a couple of organizations. I don't want to say thrown himself out, but definitely talked his way or acted his way out of a situation that he was in. I don't think the connection was ever there with him and Baker Mayfield, although his first year in Cleveland, I thought he was pretty good. He had 74 catches. He had 1,000 yards again. He averaged 65 yards a game. Last year he got hurt. This year he's been really bad. But I just don't think with Baker and Odell it's ever worked. And I think we've all agreed that Baker just looks like a completely different human being throwing the ball to Odell. It's like he doesn't look comfortable doing it ever for some reason. I don't know what that reason is. Maybe it's something behind the scenes that kind of has, had a domino effect on their relationship on the field as well. I have no idea. He's done in Cleveland. I am not really picking a side here. I do think that he needs a change of scenery in the worst possible way. I think New England is a great place for him to go to finish the season. However, I think a team that makes a lot more sense for him has 2 LSU stars up and coming on the offense already. I think the Cincinnati Bengals make a lot of sense. He stays within the division. He's an outside receiver opposite Jamar Chase, who's an LSU alum, and he's got a quarterback from LSU as well in Joe Burrow. And that offense could use another receiver.
Who he's already given money to.
I think they do.
T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Jamar Chase?
I think he's better than 2 of those 3. I mean, he's not better than
I
Chase.
I have a very
He's
low
not better than
opinion of
Chase.
Odell Beckham Jr. I'd take all 3 of those guys ahead of him. But
Personally, I think
fine.
Odell just came back too quickly from his injury. Like, he wanted so badly to come back for Week 1, and I think he probably could have benefited from not playing at all until post-trade deadline. He
And
kind of
I also-
screwed
they
himself
held
in
him
that
out
regard.
for a long time, too.
I also think that it's kind of a perfect storm this year because, Baker is playing with no arms, basically, at this point.
He looks like a weeble wobble.
Their entire running back room that they lean on very heavily
Okay.
is completely depleted. It already seems like a wash for the Browns this year. They just kind of need to focus on keeping people healthy and moving on to the next season. So it just seems kind of like a perfect storm. And, if I'm them, honestly, I agree. Just jettison this guy as soon as you can. Just get the negative energy out.
All right. we do have a Patriots game we got to talk about. Then we'll get to our regular NFL picks that we're going to get into a little bit later. So I just want to quickly set the table on this game before we talk about X factors, and then we'll do the pick for the Patriots game at the very end of the episode. So, Patriots-Panthers, meeting Stephon Gilmore back for the first time. In media availability today, he didn't sound all that happy about the way the situation ended with the Patriots. That being said, I know if that you didn't trade him, he wasn't going to be playing this week against the Panthers. You had to trade him. It's just kind of what happened. Things didn't end well. You can be bitter about it, or you can just kind of, I guess, accept it. The unfortunate part is they just didn't really have an answer behind him. So, Patriots-Panthers. Let's just go into the X factors now, because I'm seeing that we're already about 20 minutes in. It's unusual that we'd have this many regular NFL news things that we get to early. But any X factors for this game that you guys are looking at here? Maybe a player, maybe a position group. Does anyone want to lead here, or no? Kyle, you want to start? Okay.
I have two, technically three. The X factors that I put down was just the first one was kind of just like Jawan Bentley / Kyle Van Noy. Because those are your two linebackers that are going to be in coverage a lot, and Christian McCaffrey could potentially be available for this game, and if he is going to be available, then they're going to need to put in work, because if he's going to be playing at 100%, he is going to absolutely rip them apart. They have not been able to defend like screen passes or like running back passes all year, and if they're going to have to face arguably one of the best guys to ever do it, then they're going to be in a lot of trouble. The other one I put down was a guy like I put down Jacoby Myers. Only because I don't know who Gilmore is going to be on. If he's on Myers, then we're never going to hear from him again, because he's not going to get targeted. If he's on, he'll probably be on a guy like Kendrick Bourne or something like that. And if he's going to be neutralizing Bourne, who's been such an important key to the offense, Jacoby Myers, who's been pretty quiet over the last couple of weeks, is going to have to step up. And he doesn't really fill the role that Aguilar or Bourne fill very well. So it's going to be interesting to see how they use him. Hopefully they're not just going to spam it to him in the end zone and try to end the poor kid's streak. But he's going to need to bring his A game next week if Gilmore is on one of the speedier guys. They're going to have to rely on him.
I know it might be a little bit outdated, but I still believe the Panthers have three stud cornerbacks. Obviously, Gilmore being one, and I think Kyle's absolutely right. He's probably going to get Kendrick Bourne a majority of the time. But the other two, C.J. Henderson, 9th overall in the draft last year out of Florida. A.J. Bouye coming out of, I guess, Denver via Jacksonville.
Jalen Brown's
a couple of years ago. I mean, I think Bouye is probably going to take either Henry or Smith, Jonnu, that is. I don't see any reason that he would kind of waste his time, for lack of a better word, on some of these wideouts. You'll give Henderson to Aguilar, and then Dante Jackson will cover whoever's left. But I would look for Bouye as the biggest corner of the bunch to probably take the tight ends. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I'm going to go next. I'm going to kind of sneak in here ahead of Jaclyn and Jordan. My X factor is what Kyle said. It's the linebackers, but it's for a different reason. I think one of the sneaky sad parts about this game is that Sam Darnold might not clear concussion protocol in time for this. Because I think Bill Belichick would love to face Sam Darnold again. I would love to face Sam Darnold again.
Sam Darnold is praying he can't clear concussion protocol.
I know. Exactly. Sam Darnold is like, please don't clear me. Please don't clear me. Please don't clear me. Anyway.
He's awaiting his test results while currently banging his head against a wall, hoping to miss another week.
So, but the thing is, you have him and P.J. Walker. What's the common thread here? They're both mobile quarterbacks, and they can't really throw the ball. So, you got to cover them out of the backfield. You do. You have to be able to account for them. What do the Patriots always have trouble with? Mobile quarterbacks. Quarterbacks scrambling to get the first downs. If I'm Bill Belichick, I wouldn't rush more than 3 for a lot of this game. Let Barmore and Judon do their work on the interior. Barmore coming along very well.
He's been awesome.
Looked really good against the Chargers. A home run pick.
If Mac Jones did not exist, he would easily be the best rookie they have.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'd rush 3, put 3 linebackers in back of them as 3 spies. It's overkill, but you have McCaffrey out there too that you have to account for. So if you can keep them all out there as spies, 2 of them take McCaffrey, 1 of them gets Darnold or P.J. Walker, and then you make them throw it deep to DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson.
I don't think
just kind of deal with it.
Christian McCaffrey's playing this week.
He's designated to come off of IR. I don't know if he's going to play. He was very limited in practice, I think is what Matt Rule said.
Okay.
So we'll see how that plays out. But either way, Chuba Hubbard's not bad either.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's former Oklahoma State, so Kyle's kind of predisposed not to like him, but he's
on one of
terrible.
my fantasy teams, so I have to like him.
Forgive and forget quickly. Okay, Jaclyn,
well.
you can go next. What is your X factor for this
Mine
game?
isn't a person, it's more of a thing. It's turnovers. I think that if the Patriots offense can not, if the Patriots offense, if Mac Jones doesn't throw an interception, the Patriots win. Because I think that there can be, oh my God, why can't I speak right now? The
No worries,
Patriots
it's late.
defense should be able to, no matter who is at quarterback for the Panthers, get a pick, in my opinion. So I feel like as long as it's not matched, and as long as the running backs take care of the damn ball, then I think that the Patriots can easily win the turnover battle, which in turn wins the game in this situation.
All right. I mean, I think there's definitely merit to that, especially because the Panthers, I don't know where they rank in terms of takeaways, but they got impact players at every level. I mean, Shaq Thompson's a beast at linebacker, taking over for Luke Kuechly, and Brian Burns. I don't know how they're going to match up with him if he lines up opposite the left side of the line. Because, I mean, Isaiah Wynn, swinging gate himself. That's a problem. Yeah, exactly. Say your prayers for Mac Jones. Jordan, your X factor here.
Yeah, mine is 4 people, but I'm going to go into 2, it's 2 separate things. So it's the tackles, because of Brian Burns, obviously, because he's pretty versatile. He will go to opposite sides of the line if he has to make Mac Jones uncomfortable. And also the 2 running backs in particular. Damian Harris needs to have a big game running the football, and Brandon Bolden is going to have a big game receiving the football, I think. Because I don't think the Patriots receivers or tight ends are going to have that big of a game. And if there's one thing that we have learned so far this season, J.J. Taylor's ball security is suspect, and Brandon Bolden's is not. Brandon Bolden will not put the ball on the ground. He is not the most agile running back, not the fastest running back in the world, but he will not put the ball on the ground. He will get his 6 yards. He will get. He's got
and
one
get tackled
fumble.
on a 3rd and 1 shotgun
He has
handoff.
never. Yeah, that's where you give the ball to Damian Harris. Hopefully.
Or you just don't do a shotgun handoff on 3rd and 1.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Let him run downhill. But the 2 tackles and then the tandem of Damian Harris, I think he needs to get at least 85, 90 rushing yards in this game. And I think Brandon Bolden's going to need to have 40 to 50 receiving yards.
Yes, Kyle?
I'm very disappointed that when you said the 2 running backs, you did not include Ramondre Stevenson.
This just feels like a game for some reason that he'll end up being inactive for just no particular reason. You're kind of like, why? Because you need to ground and pound it with Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson, and they just, for some reason, are like Brandon Bolden.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, though,
Brandon
is
Bolden.
I will say Brandon Bolden has definitely earned his playing time this year. Like in the beginning of the season, I was obviously very butthurt. I was like, Bolden, play my guy. But at the same time, like, Bolden has been pretty good throughout the whole season, so he's earned his playing time. I mean, obviously I'm biased, but I would like to see Ramondre play in this game because he gives you a healthy balance between the 2 of those guys. Maybe his ball security's not as good as Bolden. He's a little bit more durable than Harris. Yeah, he's better than him in the passing game. He's a little more agile than Bolden. He just gives you a little different look. Like that's even my main beef with them having, making him an inactive so much is he just gives you something different. And I think that not having him is a detriment to the team because you're losing a facet of your game because he kind of fills that Rex Burkhead role pretty well so far. And Rex Burkhead was important to that team where it's like, well, we kind of need a guy who's, a little bit stronger than James White who can catch, or a guy who's a little bit more mobile than, Damian Harris who can get around and catch the ball when you need it. And that's my biggest disappointment is, A, I want to see him grow as a player, but B, I think he brings a very versatile game that, he kind of gets the best of Damian and Brandon.
That was a lot of minutes of Brandon Bolden talk that I can never get back.
Hey, he's deserved.
That was Ramondre Stevenson talk.
He has played at a level where he is worth talking about because he's been, I'd say, fairly good. Like he's having a career year.
I did let you run with your N'Keal Harry agenda for a while. Let me run with this
Brandon
for a little bit,
Bolden
and then we can
confirmed
talk.
I have given you almost 4 years of Brandon Bolden slander. Okay.
I mean, I know that was mainly Duron Harmon slander up until
That's
this
true.
year when
That's
Duron
true.
Harmon
And one
left.
of those years, and actually, that's not necessarily fair to you because one of those years Bolden was in Miami and he opted out last year.
Yep. All right, now here we go. Picks time. New format. We're doing what we did last week with me and Jordan. Lock of the week, upset of the week, game to watch of the week. Let's start with lock. Let's start with Jaclyn. Who you got?
The lock of the week is the Bills winning over the Jacksonville Jaguars. I feel like that's a pretty safe lock for me. I really don't think that the Jaguars will score many points, if any points, against the Bills. And I feel like the Bills may put a 50 burger up on them. I really don't think that the Jacksonville Jaguars are good, and I think that you all probably agree with that take.
Jordan, did you concur with this lock?
No. Once Aaron Rodgers was designated out with COVID, I am picking the Chiefs as my lock this week in Arrowhead against Jordan Love in his first professional start. Yeah, that's barbecue chicken.
I like that. Kyle.
Jeremy, I'm sorry, but I will be taking the Ravens as my lock of the week. This Vikings team, I think, if anything, should intentionally lose just so that they can fire Mike Zimmer for once and for all.
I like that.
The Ravens survived this week.
The Ravens have just been a wagon, and the Vikings have, I don't think, they almost have essentially negative momentum right now. Now, granted, the Vikings are a weird team, and the Ravens are also kind of a weird team, so you never know what you'll get from them, but I think the Ravens are going to come to the occasion.
When I was trying to come up with my upset of the week, I looked at this game, and then I remembered, and I don't know the exact numbers. I'm going to have to look at it at some point. I'm pretty sure that John Harbaugh has some insane record coming off of buys, and that was the only reason that kept me from taking the Vikings as the upset of the week, per se, because the Vikings are a stupid team. They'll lose a game that they were supposed to win, and they'll win a game that they have no business being in. So that was my logic until I remembered that I'm pretty sure John Harbaugh's pretty good. So my lock of the week, I took the Bills last week, so I wanted to be different. I'm going to take the Rams against Tennessee in the Sunday night game. I mean, no Derrick Henry.
That's going to be a good game.
I don't see Tannehill being able to keep pace with Stafford long enough to make a difference, but I'm hoping that it's still entertaining because, I mean, Titans-Rams should be good, theoretically. It's two star-studded teams, but, I mean, the loss of Derrick Henry really does hurt. All right, Jordan, you get to start on this one. Upset of the week. Who you got?
Well, I think whoever wins the Houston-Miami game is going to be pretty upset because of the record. In all seriousness, and this is Kyle's going to be happy with this one, I think. My upset of the week, Jalen Hurts is going to beat the Los Angeles Chargers. I think the Chargers are a team. We talked about this last week when it was just Jeremy and myself. We talked about how the Chargers are a team that is notorious. They're like the Raiders. They're a team that is notorious for playing up, and then they're like, oh, playoff aspirations, maybe an outside shot at the Super Bowl, and then it's like downhill. Rookie coach coming off of a couple of losses in a row. I personally think that this could be a potential trap game for the Chargers where they kind of fall out of playoff contention in the respect that they're going to lose and the Chiefs are going to win. And it's going to really just start a domino effect. So I think the Eagles are my upset this week.
So, did I go before you, Kyle, or did you? No, Kyle, you go first here.
It's funny, Jordan, because I was staring at that game for a very long time, thinking about it. Like, oh man, I love the Eagles in that matchup. The problem is though, I think that the Chargers just have so much quality, and the Eagles, like you said, they've been in a lot of games.
Soccer term.
They are kind of a sneaky team here, where they're in games because they're out by so much, and then they ball out in garbage time, and then they end up covering. Like that's pretty. They're a big backdoor cover team this year. I think in their game against the Bucs, they were down like 28-3, and the game ended up being like 28-24.
It was a one-score game at the end. I don't remember
exactly.
Yeah,
it ended up being like 28-24 because the Bucs kind of took their foot off the gas, and the Eagles were able to sneak out some garbage time points. So I didn't end up going with that one. I think the Chargers will win that game, but that's definitely that was definitely one of my games to watch. But for my upset, I took the Falcons over the Saints. I think that the Saints, I don't know if it really count as an upset because the Saints obviously don't have Jameis anymore, but record-wise, it is an upset. And I think it's
still an upset because
they're in the Superdome too.
New Orleans is home. That has an effect
so,
on the line.
I'm going to take the Falcons in that one because I think obviously Trevor Siemian was was probably just a little fluke. I don't know, because I don't think Taysom Hill's been cleared from concussion protocol yet. If he ends up starting, I honestly would still probably take the Falcons anyway. I think the Falcons they're a fun team now. You know, they've shown a little bit of fight.
Now, I don't necessarily look at them as the preeminent football authorities, but both Peter King, Chris Sims, and there was one other guy, and I can't remember who it was, all said that they think the NFL is starting to figure out the Chargers. Obviously, you saw the week before their bye, the Ravens absolutely crushed them, and the Patriots took care of them last week. People are starting to figure out how to defend Justin Herbert, so I think that's a worthy upset pick. I'm not going to take it. I'm actually, unfortunately, going to be taking the Niners over the Cardinals. The Niners are at home, and I don't know if they're going to be favored, but they probably don't deserve to be. They haven't been particularly good in basically the entire year. They haven't won a home game in San Francisco since October of last year. Remember, they had to briefly relocate to Arizona. But I'm going to take the Niners in the upset. I think Trey Lance is going to get a little bit of playing time. I know he was out last week. No more design runs for Jimmy Garoppolo unless Kyle Shanahan really wants Trey Lance as a starter. Then he can just go assassinate his quarterback live on the field.
The line is Arizona.
Arizona
-1 is the line.
Yeah, I mean, it's technically an upset then, so yeah, I'm going to take it because I think it's fair. And I think the Cardinals should win even though Kyler Murray is hurt. I just don't think they are. I think that they're going to be a little bit, I guess, lackadaisical, going to be a little bit slow coming out. I think the Niners are going to run all over them. Yep. All right.
I didn't get to say my upset
Kyle,
of the
you
week.
get to start on this one.
I'm upset
Jaclyn,
now.
Did you not do your upset? My bad. My brain's going.
You're just like the winner of Houston, Miami.
So no,
Sorry,
my
Jaclyn.
upset of the week is I have the Bears beating the Steelers on Monday Night Football. The Bears are 6.5-point underdogs. That's ridiculous. I feel
I'd be
like
so happy with
that
that.
shouldn't be the case. They're playing in Pittsburgh, so I guess that makes a little bit more sense, but no, first of all, you should not be 6.5-point underdogs. But also, Steelers games have been gross recently, and I feel like the Bears could somehow end up pulling this off. Great
Do the
question.
Steelers have a kicker for this game? That is the question.
I hope they bring out Cody Parkey.
I thought that he was on the
just
Saints.
for
I don't know
yucks,
why.
Because
Isn't
it's
he
going to be
on a
against the
roster?
Bears.
From the Saints?
No, I'm pretty sure he got cut from the Saints. I thought he was
No,
on
he
but
was
then
on
he
the
was on the
Browns
Saints this year.
last year, but they have Chase
He-
McLaughlin now.
Current team, Cleveland Browns.
They went through Aldrich
Oh,
Rosas
no, he's a
as well.
free
They
agent.
have
He's a free agent. He's a
Bra-
free agent. That was,
You getting
must
the
have been
Browns
his
again?
last team.
yes.
Sounds like Pittsburgh needs to sign him.
I know he wasn't on
Steven
New Orleans
Gostkowski,
because the
anybody?
kicker for New Orleans was Brian Johnson, and me and Kyle saw that the other day and went,
Like the Red Sox guy?
"Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
we
no,
said."
I'm pretty sure Pat said verbatim. Didn't they leave him in Pawtucket?
No, I said that. I
Oh,
said
that was
that.
what Jeremy said.
Yeah, I
Excuse
said
me.
he was the one player the team left behind when they went to Worcester. Just Brian Johnson was left in Pawtucket.
And hey, Rusney.
He didn't get the rerouting info. All right, game of the week to
No,
watch.
it's okay.
I feel bad.
We can
I
still
accidentally
go
skipped
in
Jaclyn.
order.
I'm sorry. You can start. Go ahead.
Now Kyle's
Game to
upset.
watch.
We're
I'm
all
supposed to start.
upset.
Now I'm upset.
Go. That was just sad.
So you're upset.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it's
Jaclyn, go.
awful.
Game to watch.
Yes.
Are we
Okay.
really gonna do this? Are we really? Oh, fine. Fine. Go, Kyle. Go.
My game to watch is the Cardinals 49ers. It's kind of a duo with my upset pick. I totally agree with you, Jeremy. This is a total trap game for the Cardinals. The 49ers have had their number in a lot of really important games. I mean, pretty much the reason why the Cardinals did not make the playoffs last year was because they lost an away game at home to the 49ers in Arizona. It was an ugly game. I think the final score was like 17-12 or something like that. It was not a good game. But yeah, no, I mean, it's going to be fun because whenever those two teams match up, it's great. And I could see it being a trap game for the Cardinals, but they were able to beat the Rams this year, so they have been doing a pretty good job of kind of getting over those humps that they weren't able to get over.
Jordan.
My game to watch this week is not necessarily because these teams are any good. One of them's okay.
It's Houston, Miami.
No, yeah, because I want to see who's the one that's going
Jets,
to be upset.
Colts.
I want to see who's going to be upset. No, it's Raiders Giants honestly, the Raiders have been probably the most battle-tested organization in sports for some, or not in sports,
Because
but in football.
they're also committing copious amounts of tax fraud on top of all of their player and coach problems that they've had.
Yes, exactly. They have had PR disasters. They have had some serious off-the-field issues within that organization, and they ended up winning the week after, the John Gruden stuff. I wonder how they're going to do this week without Henry Ruggs. Obviously, we won't go into what happened, but I'm curious to see how they respond. And obviously, last week, the Giants held tough with the Chiefs for the entire game. They lost by 3 points in Arrowhead. So are they going to be able to, finally get back in the win column? Probably not. But I'm curious to see how Vegas looks on Sunday after, another week of just crap they can't control. Like the players that are still there can't control.
I just
Jaclyn.
gotta say quickly.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
I feel so bad for Derek Carr, man. That guy
too.
cannot catch a break. He seems like such a genuinely good guy. I mean, his best ever season, the Raiders' only winning season in the last 12 years or something like that. He ends up injuring himself late in the season, so what was going to be a really promising year for them is completely flushed down the drain. All this stuff with Gruden, this stuff now with Ruggs. I mean, it's just one of those things where, and I don't know if you guys saw, Jordan, you sent the clip. I don't know if the other people
I saw
it.
that one. Yeah.
It just I felt so bad for him in that moment because you could tell that he really did care about Ruggs, and it's just one of those things where it's this guy cannot catch a break. He just really can't.
If there is an award for the best leader at the quarterback position in the NFL, I think Derek Carr would be a shoo-in for that this season. That man has been unbelievable, both as the leader of the team on the field at quarterback, because he's having a fantastic season. They're obviously they're 5-2, I believe. I think they had their bye already. They're playing very well.
But they lost
and then
to the
off
Bears.
the field, they did lose to the Bears.
They're coming off their bye.
But they had. And then also off the field, because I think Derek Carr has said basically 100% the right stuff. That dude deserves so much more credit than he has gotten for his career because the Raiders have been so bad. And this year specifically, he's playing out of his mind, and it's going secondary to stuff that he personally has nothing to do with. He can't control it.
My game to watch is the Battle of Ohio,
Jaclyn, game to
baby.
watch.
Browns versus Bengals. Both teams are desperate for a win right now. The Browns can't lose back-to-back games within the division. The Bengals can't lose in the division after losing to the Jets last week. The Browns are banged up. The OBJ saga isn't helping. There were 16 Browns on the injury report today. Mayfield is playing through an injury. It is all of the drama, all of the saga that you could ever wish for. Browns versus Bengals. Browns win.
My pick
Two
is
of the
also
greatest college quarterbacks facing off against each other.
My pick is also Browns against the Bengals, simply for the fact that the Ravens need some sort of challenger to face them in the AFC North, and this game's probably going to determine who does. I think the Steelers are probably going to kind of drop off a little bit. That being said, the Bengals have a win over them, and the Browns don't right now. The Ravens still have to play the Steelers twice. So if you guys, if you're either of these teams, if you want an inside track on the AFC North, you hope the Steelers beat up on the Ravens a couple of times, lose some easy games like they always do because they're the Steelers, and then you can kind of beat your divisional opponent, your in-state opponent, and ride your way to the AFC North title. So Browns-Bengals is my game to watch. It was going to be Packers-Chiefs before all of the Aaron Rodgers drama kind of popped off. But that being said, we have to wrap up as we always do with our picks for the Patriots game. Patriots-Panthers. I don't know what network it's on. I'm assuming probably Fox because it's
CBS.
Panthers home game. Oh, CBS. Interesting. Do we get Iron Eagle again is the question.
I did not know. I just
Mike
saw
Reese
when I was
usually
doing
has
research it
so.
said CBS.
Okay, I'm going to look and see if Mike Reese said what play-by-play team that we're going to get, but I'm going to let Jordan lead on the pick here. Who you got, Jordan?
I think the Patriots are slowly starting to work their way back into relevancy in terms of the crew that gets the game.
I agree.
Eventually,
Also,
or-
can
or-
somebody
I
please
gotcha.
write whatever the score predictions are for this specific game in the picks? Somebody get
yeah.
that real quick.
Yeah. So I am picking the Patriots to win again. I don't think the Panthers, defensively, they're okay. They're a solid unit. Offensively, they are dog water. They're horrible. So I am taking the Patriots to win. I think they're going to win. It's going to be an ugly one because they're going to be a lot of ground and pound. I think it'll be 20. We'll go 20-17 Patriots.
The broadcasting crew: Greg Gumbel, Adam Archuleta, and AJ Ross. The D team for CBS, behind obviously Nansen Romo, Eagle, and Charles Davis, and Kevin Harlan.
So disregard what I said. Disregard what I said about them.
Hey, it's better than
closer
Andrew
to relevancy.
Catalan and James Lofton saying that Jakob Johnson is Derrick Henry light. Like, what are we doing?
Hey,
I
Andrew
agree. I
Catalan's
think that the
okay.
Patriots will
Jaclyn,
end up coming
go.
out on top. I don't know what the statistics are for Bill Belichick facing former players who left him, but I feel like it's probably swaying in Bill's favor, especially with the coaching. I don't even know. Who is the coach of the Carolina Panthers? Okay, that's who I thought. Yeah, so
Matt
just,
Rule,
on
Temple,
that
and
alone,
Baylor.
I will be picking the Patriots. I think that it will still be kind of ugly, but I don't think it'll be as ugly as Jordan said. My final score prediction is 24-14. Patriots.
All right, I'm going to go and I'm going to let Kyle wrap up here. I have the Patriots as well because I can't get out of my mind. It's either going to be Sam Darnold, petrified to be out there, or the former XFL guy in PJ Walker under center for the Panthers. Like, good God, guys. You couldn't have gotten a better quarterback situation for this year to pair with arguably a top 5 back in the NFL. Like, really? I'm going to take the Patriots, and I think they're going to win 27-12. I think it's going to be that ugly.
Oh.
Yeah, it's going to be
Wow.
bad. I think the Panthers
Perfect.
are really going to have trouble.
Perfect, because I chose 27-13. You scared me there, because I was writing down all the scores. I'm taking
you,
the
Kyle.
Pats as well. Yeah, no, I mean they've just shown me that they're starting to really get some momentum going together. They've put together some solid performances. It's going to be interesting to see how the Panthers will respond to them defensively. I think honestly maybe it might be a little lower scoring than that, but 27-13 is what came to my mind first. So I always roll with it. It's a score prediction. We never get it right.
Still waiting
and
for the day someone does.
Been a couple that
But
have
yeah,
been
no,
close.
Yeah.
no, I
Playoff
think
games we predict better, ironically. It's weird.
I had one of the closest ones I remember, and it was just like I think the Browns ended up missing a field goal, and if they had hit it, then I would have gotten
no,
it. But they missed it.
but you know the other one that you had that was close, or it may have been Jordan, the Chiefs AFC Championship game against the Patriots a couple years. Yes, Jordan
That was me.
had
I was a point off.
38-31 because
If
they
the
didn't keep
Patriots
the extra
keep the-
point in the after the overtime touchdown, and that's the
Painful.
reason that he didn't get it. All right,
Oh
so
well, but yeah,
Damn
I'm taking the
sportsmanship.
Pats.
Damn
definitely look to
sportsmanship.
see if Mac Jones bounces back from what was arguably his worst game under center. I think we can all say it's either that or the Saints game. Let's see if he can bounce back after his performance against the Chargers on Sunday. So, for Jordan, Kyle, and Jaclyn, I'm Jeremy. Check us out on all of our social platforms at Mass with Mikes on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Massholes with Mikes on YouTube, Massholes with Mikes on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. Got all 6 of them, didn't stumble over it for the first time, maybe ever. So, for all of us here, wishing you a happy Week 9 slate. Enjoy the games, everybody, and look for the graphic that will go up, as always, with all of our picks on the Instagram on Sunday. Have a good one, everybody.